Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Welcome to All Things Social Security. I am Stephanie Joy, the attorney at Joy Disability. Welcome to the channel, and I hope you enjoy the video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening. I am Stephanie Joy with All Things Social Security and the disability practice of Joy Disability. Welcome to Red Friday Fraud Law Review, where we combine our thanks for it being Red Friday and all of our deployed military members who cannot be home with their families like we can be, or most of us can be. And we go into a little bit of fraud related to the Social Security programs that we have in this country. So all of our reports come from the Social Security's Office of Inspector General specifically. I can't say that all fraud is published here, but they do it quite regularly. So there's plenty of content here. This one was kind of interesting, so this is why I picked it today. It's about a fugitive. So as you might know, on the applications, it does ask you if you're a fugitive. I suspect because if you're a fugitive running from the law, that is a bar to collecting federal benefits. So I don't think I've even seen a fugitive report. So this is kind of fun. And check it out. Fugitive who stole dead man's identity for 4 decades pleads guilty to fraud charges. 4 decades, 40 years. Okay, this is in New Mexico, the state of New Mexico. Came out in June. It says, a fugitive who lived for more than 40 years under the stolen identity of a deceased Arkansas man pled guilty to federal identity theft, passport fraud, and firearms offenses. According to the court documents, and he pled guilty, guys, so I'm more than comfortable saying his name, Steven Craig Campbell. He is now 73, so I guess he was in his roaring 30s when he started this. He assumed the identity of a fellow who died in 1975. I'm not going to say the fellow's name. I just don't like intertwining a deceased person with this kind of smut. And I don't think it's necessary. It doesn't help the point at all. The fellow died in 1975 at the age of 22, just months after graduating from the University of Arkansas with an engineering degree in the early 80s. We had a report of another stolen identity, stealing benefits from a 17-year-old passed away in 1965. That was not that many weeks or months ago. And that one really, it always gives me the little, I don't know, little sadness there. As if fraud isn't sad enough, but I don't know, young people passing. Anyway, Campbell first applied for a U.S., so the bad dude, Mr. Campbell, first applied for a U.S. passport in the young man's name in 1984 and renewed it multiple times, always submitting his own photograph and current address. In 1995, he obtained a replacement card, Social Security card, in the young man's name. And then in 2003, so we're talking 8 years after that, he purchased property in Weed. No kidding. There's a Weed, New Mexico, under the young man's identity and continued renewing the fraudulent passport to 2015. Jump ahead to September of 2019. This fraudster Campbell knowingly presented a fraudulent U.S. passport with the other guy's name in it to a New Mexico Motor Vehicle Division employee in Cloudcroft. Cloudcroft must be in New Mexico. He used the passport to renew the driver's license in the young man's name, knowing it was not legitimate, of course. The passport was eventually seized in February of 2025, so last year. This fraudster Campbell also admitted that he knowingly possessed a Social Security card not lawfully issued to him with the intent to defraud the United States. In 92, he contacted the SSA in an attempt to remove the young man's death record. I see. Wow, that was ballsy of him. In October of 95, he fraudulently applied for and received a replacement card. Using this identity, he applied for and received Social Security retirement benefits beginning in 2015. ultimately receiving $140,000 in fraudulent government benefits. Jump ahead to February 2025. During the execution of a search warrant at his residence in Weed, New Mexico, Campbell was in possession of a loaded rifle. He eventually set the weapon down after repeated commands. It's so funny. He was in possession of, how about he was doing something dangerous with it when there was law enforcement on the property? You don't play with your firearms when you're around law enforcement. Not a smart thing to do. That's a way to get yourself killed, and rightfully so. He eventually set the weapon down after repeated commands from law enforcement. A search of the property recovered a total of 57 firearms and a large quantity of ammunition. Campbell acknowledged he was a fugitive from justice at the time and was therefore prohibited from possessing firearms. He has an outstanding 1983 warrant. Now we're going to get to why he's a fugitive, I think, from Wyoming for failure to appear on an original charge of attempted first-degree murder. Okay. Wasn't like a parking ticket, guys. In 1982, he allegedly planted an explosive device at the home of his estranged wife's boyfriend. The device detonated when his wife opened it, causing her to lose a finger and suffer additional injuries while also starting a fire that damaged the residence and a neighboring unit. He was arrested in 2025 after that standoff, in which he was observed armed and partially concealed. He had been on the U.S. Marshal's most wanted list for over 40 years. Wow. Curious about any intervening crimes, aside from the ones that he did the whole time with fraud and stealing from the Social Security Trust Fund that's intended for the people that are still alive. He pled guilty to misuse of a passport, possession of false papers to defraud U.S., aggravated identity theft, and being a fugitive from justice in possession of a firearm and ammunition. He faces a whopping 12 years in prison at sentencing. 12 years for 40 years of every month committing a crime, every single month. That's really the reality of it. Every time you collect knowingly an insurance benefit, a federal benefit, a state benefit, knowing you're not entitled to it, that is a crime. That's an individual act. So I'm not sure why they don't just nail him with all that. I suppose the prisons would be overfull, but you know, something's got to give. All right. Interesting, huh? Fugitive. Obviously a guy who couldn't keep his emotions in check when the wifey left him. Can you understand why maybe she did? I think I have a little inkling. Anyway, guys, have a great weekend. I plan on doing the same. And I'd love to see you Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for live stream on the YouTube channel, All Things Social Security. Ask your question. I'll answer it. Or just say hello in the chat and I'll know you're there. All right. I do my best to remember names, screen names. And occasionally we have a little, I don't know, a little perk for people who showed up and made themselves known. So it could be a discount off a consult, a significant discount, actually, things like that. So anyway, I hope to see you there. And if you are so inclined, please turn on our 12 o'clock p.m. segments. So the shorter ones, the pre-recorded that go on at 12 p.m. each day, because those are the ones that support the channel's mission, where we provide anticipated pro bono work to some of the 1%, 5%ers who otherwise likely will not be able to get any kind of representation, which really reduces their chance of prevailing in an otherwise difficult case to begin with. So we like to up those chances, and it's very heartwarming when the increase in chances actually pans out in their favor. And it happens a lot more than we would have expected. So very glad to hear that. And this channel has enabled us to take more, because the pro bono work by those other than myself that assist needs to be paid for. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate all of that. And I look forward to seeing you next time. To all of our deployed military members, thank you again, from the bottom of my heart. God bless, and everybody be safe. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.